Alrighty, welcome aboard. Time now for the news review. And of course, we're serving, first of all, Bernice Abubedu Lanza before we get into the papers.
Good morning to you, Benjamin, and good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well.
I woke up a bit, I don't know, but it's just one of those things. You wake up sometimes and it's a little something. But here we are doing the do. Yeah. But I like to be mischievous sometimes. Should I be mischievous?
No, please.
Let me be, please. Which color is this?
I don't know. I don't know what.
No, because I took a look at it and I was wondering myself, which color is this? You know, there are so many
colors. Yeah.
I'll take it up as a project. I'll find out which specific color this is. Yeah. But your brooch just does look turquoise.
Yeah, it is turquoise.
Right. Because turquoise, well, maybe someone was asking, what is that?
Better.
All right, we get into the papers now, and beyond the papers, there are so many things to talk about. Monkeypox. Have you seen the latest inflation rates and all of that? It's. I mean, I'm just asking myself, where does it stop?
I remember when we did the one for April.
Yeah.
And we said there was a possibility that we were going to see higher numbers, and well, it's reflecting.
So look at the trend. 19 to 23.6. That's an increment of 4.6. Now 27.6. That's an increment of another 4 points.
Yeah. So if you keep growing at that rate, it'll be quite difficult for a lot of people in this country. But let's see how it goes. And I am pleased to say that we've been joined again by the former flag bearer for the PPP, Bridget Jobenuku. We'll be delving into the papers. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for your time. Well, I'm told we have a bit of a technical challenge there, but we will definitely raise her on the line, and hopefully technology will be kind to us. But let's delve into the papers, Benjamin. On the front page of the Daily Graphic, we have rains butter Accra roads. Minister deploys mobile maintenance unit to fix problems. It comes along with a photo of a portion of the Tuba Road in the Gas South municipality and the fertilizer road around Teshi Nungwa Estate in Accra. Yesterday, they did how the roads were affected by the rains, the Weja Kaswa Highway. Right. And this time around, they're focusing on roads in some parts of the Accra and Tema metropolises. But it's interesting.
Particularly battered when the rains, hit.
Yep.
Which stretches that? I can see it looks terrible.
This is a portion of the Tuba Road, and we'll be putting up that shortly for you to see. I'm not sure for those who live in that area how your cars are faring. I'm sure this is dealing you some hard blows on your pockets because you have to keep fixing things. But also on the front page of the Daily Graphic, Ghana Health Service records 5 cases of monkeypox, COVID-19 influenza still lurking, and we will be delving into that issue later in the bulletin. An illegal Chinese miners jailed 15 years. Special supplement on manufacturing, that is in the paper. And on the back page, Afari Military Hospital will be ready in December. Okay, so it's a 500-bed military hospital at Afari in the Truma Nyabija district of the Ashanti region. And contractors, they have given an assurance that it will be ready for inauguration by December this year. Good news, isn't it, Benjamin?
It is.
And unfortunately, this story, Momo vendor, 2 others killed in Tamale robbery. Yeah. And that was 2 days ago. It was, watching the video alone, sent some shivers down my spine. The sheer bravado with which these criminals do these things makes you wonder, where from the confidence,
Well, there must be something, giving them some pep, a shot in the arm. And of course, we know also that, we can look at so many things. Yeah. The police to civilian ratio itself, according to UN standards, we still have some work to do there to get, it's been a while since I checked, but we're still not there yet. At all. Then it comes to, community alertness, it comes to, there are so many factors, the economy, the economic situation and all of that. Usually I issue a disclaimer when I talk about these things. It's not to say that when the economy is turbulent, it means there is justification to engage in these activities. But it definitely does mean that some people will take advantage of such and, engage in such nefarious activity. And you would notice a lot of these mobile money vendors are being targeted,
exactly.
which is a great cause for worry.
Yeah, Benjamin. There are a couple of stories in the paper that I would just like to draw our attention to. There's this one about Bola Tinubu contesting Nigeria election on the APC ticket. And Nigeria is voting next year.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting interesting by the day, what's happening there with regards to their elections, the primaries, and all the things. And all the things that are happening, especially with regards to security and how it will all play out.
The activities of Boko Haram,
exactly.
The Islamic, I don't want to say insurgency because this is not Boko Haram, but like what we saw happen to Deborah, intolerance, religious intolerance and all of that. But people have spoken about Tinubu's age and all of that and felt, and you see, for me, that is becoming...
Are you in sync with me? Because that's what I was just going to say.
Because I feel on the continent, and again, anytime I say this, I am not being ageist, okay? Ageism, no. But I feel, look at our leaders across the continent, really. Well, we're electing people of a certain ilk. And I'm sorry, we also need a lot of young people in there. Look at Emmanuel Macron, when he took over France. How old was he? 36, thereabouts? Look at all of these Scandinavian countries. The women in New Zealand, Finland. All of these countries, they're electing women, they're electing very young people. 30-something, 40, I don't know, but I feel moving on, we also need that bit concerning youthful energy in our leadership. And I always go back to what Mo Ibrahim, the British Sudanese billionaire businessman, once said. And this is on the lighter side. He said, in Africa, we are electing all of these 70-somethings, 80-somethings, and all of that. Where are they taking Africa to? To the grave, so that's just, but we need more vibrancy in there, obviously.
Yep. And he beat the current vice president. Osibanjo, who was hoping to be president.
In fact, he placed third.
He placed third, yes.
The V placed third, then there was another person, and then Tinubu. Well, okay. We wish Nigeria the best.
Yes, we must be interested in what happens in Nigeria, because when there's a spillover.
Oh, definitely.
Ghana receives whatever.
The first destination, we hope that never happens, but the first destination is Ghana. Because Nigeria and Ghana are like,
brothers.
Siblings.
Yeah. But there's this one that you brought up yesterday, food crisis could last years. And the story is on page 9 of the Daily Graphic. The food crisis gathering pace since Ukraine was invaded could last years rather than months if decisive action is not taken. That's according to Director General of the World Trade Organization. And you just want to put this in perspective as we experience our own issues with food production here in Ghana. And Mamiesi Thompson on the 6 a.m. news today brought us a story from the Aboglushi market where people have to adjust their grocery list because every time they go, the prices are increasing. And so you knew that you bought a gallon of oil, say, for 300 cedis the last time you visited the markets. This time when you go, it's almost 400 cedis. And so you have to make adjustments to your list, and people aren't really excited. But the warning is that, look, beyond what's happening in your various countries, you should be thinking of the impact of the Russia-Ukraine war. So our Greek ministry and our farmers really need to be doing something to ensure that we don't hit rock bottom when it comes to food.
And one of those stories you did from the Daily Graphic, just a place name that usually gets me. I don't know why, but I smile or I get, my interest is piqued each time I hear Nwabieja. Nwabieja. I would like to get to the root of Nwabieja. Anyway,
let's see what you have.
Let's get into the Business Finder newspaper. Dr. Baumia officially launches no guarantor or no guarantor, depending on how you, for students' loan scheme. Commonwealth Business Forum CBGMD engages British PM. And other stories. Let's get into that first one on page 2. So Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has officially launched the No Guarantor for Students loan policy, which takes effect this academic year. He said the policy would build on government's comprehensive program of expanding educational opportunities for the youth. Effective this school year, all eligible tertiary students can access loans by submitting their Ghana card to the Students' Loan Trust Fund. And this is a critical first step to ensuring cost is not a barrier. I believe that is a good move, especially considering the numbers I am seeing here. And it will go to alleviate the suffering of a number of students who have to fall on this scheme, most definitely.
And talking about that, I just think that it's okay to announce or to just say that for those of us who were able to access student loans, I mean, just pay back. Because sometimes no names are published in the papers because people are defaulting, and it's not too exciting because you're denying others the opportunity you had while you were a student. So
it's also about sometimes how people, you see, it's about a corrupt and broken system. And how sometimes, it's just like with the COCOBOD scheme, you know. In the past, I don't know about what pertains now, but my family, I mean, my grandfather had large swathes of land, cocoa farm and all of that. So at a point, I benefited at the secondary level from a cocoa scholarship. But you would also realize that some people who had absolutely nothing to do with were on some of those schemes. So when you look at it in this sense, if the person, I mean, is just coming thinking, oh, because I'm affiliated to party A or party B and this or that, the person will feel justified to not want to pay after they are done. Those are some of the problems. Give them to those who are actually in need, regardless of political colorations. And then let's have mechanisms in place so that once the person is done, they will pay. But here's one last angle. There are people as well, they are done all right, but they've not even landed a job. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. How do you expect them to pay?
True. That's true. You're right.
Anyway, so just a quick one. 9.6% of applicants secured guarantors in 2019-2020. And for those who could not find them in 2018-2019, that was 42% could not find, you know, some of these people to stand in for them. So that's the story. But also here, what we've been talking about, inflation inches to 27.6%. And in the first quarter of 2022, the average inflation was 16.3% relative to 10.2% recorded for the same period in 2021. Again, food prices and others driving inflation upward and upward. There's a story, Bernice, on page 4 of the paper, source raw materials locally. President tells multinational companies. And he made the call yesterday in Tema when he commissioned a 175 million Ghana cedi state-of-the-art plant belonging to Nestle Ghana Limited to manufacture infant cereal for the domestic market, thus expanding the factory's capacity to some 6,000 metric tons. My only thinking here is a call. How many times have we not made this call? So, I don't know, Mr. President, this call would likely amount to nothing because we don't have any real regulation or law. Other jurisdictions are definitive. You must source X% at least from here. So calls will not really do us justice. Again, we'll allow these MNCs to come into the country and have a field day. So we need more than a call to get this running. There's a final story I wanted to look at very quickly. Newmont sells 3,500 ounces of gold to the Bank of Ghana. You know, the central bank told us they wanted to, you know, have their reserves in gold and all of that. So Newmont Ghana has announced it has successfully sold some 3,500 ounces of gold to the Bank of Ghana under the central bank's domestic gold purchasing program launched in June 2021. So some interesting stories there from the business fight.
Yep, then I've got the Daily Guide and about the president making that call. He also urged or charged industries to exploit the after that particular program. And MPs in dogfight over gay bill. You had that discussion yesterday, and Well, we're being told, the committee says it is not dragging its feet, it's actually working. So let me just bring you details of that story on page 3, written by Enes Kofi-Edu from Parliament. Discussions on the perceived delay of the work of the anti-LGBTQ bill by the Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs deteriorated into a dogfight in Parliament yesterday amidst shouted marches. The promotion of proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill 2021 seeks to criminalize homosexuality and its allied sexual orientations and make advocating for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and queer people a crime in the country. Currently, the committee is holding a public hearing to give individuals and organizations that have submitted memoranda on the bill the opportunity to justify their submissions and offer further explanation on their views, and this has delayed the process. So we are told that lawmakers from the NDC saw this as an opportunity to make political capital. I'm wondering, I don't know how you feel about it, but the journalist thinks that the NDC made political capital out of this by attacking the committee's chairman, who is an NPP MP, and the government on deliberately delaying the process to deny the draft legislation from becoming law. Minority Chief Whip Mohammed Mubarak Buntaka threatened to block the passage of government bills in the House if the chairman continuously used, quote, tortoise method, unquote, to deal with the bill at the committee level. There's more on this on page 3 of the Daily Guide, but there are other stories captured on the front page. Ghana records first monkeypox cases. And Benjamin, remember when we're having that conversation with Liz about the COVID-19 and the fact that we were recording more cases now? I said, speaking to scientists, they had always maintained that the cycle or the nature or the behavior of the virus was that what you see playing out in the West would likely, I don't know if it is a thing of we paying close attention once the West reports it, or it is a true reflection that once they report it, we are likely, because monkeypox is from here.
Technically,
right?
We're told, that hasn't, because usually they tend to,
Africa.
Ebola this and all of that. Sometimes it's not, when you trace its origins, yes, the 9-year-old who first got it was from, I think, the former Zaire. But over the years, we've had outbreaks in the West, the United States and all of that. And it's here now. But if you look at the 5, I think it's only one that is indigenous to us. They've been brought in, one person from the United States and all that. So this whole bit, the back and forth really doesn't matter. It's about eradicating it wherever. Because once it's in even a single country, it means there's a possibility of someone who has left having it. And look at how transmissible it also is, which is why the Director General of the Ghana Health Service has said that maybe we should really consider going back to mask wearing, using sanitizers more, cleaning surfaces and all of that, because kind of close to COVID-19, monkeypox in terms of transmissibility is also, very contagious. Yep.
And he's not the only one. We've had scientists from WACPIP. They're actually suggesting that we go back to the protocols if we can. But also on the front page of the Daily Guide, support government to green Ghana. We know tomorrow is Green Ghana Day. It's there. Let's go planting. I would like to know how well the trees we planted last year are faring. I think it's important,
I've said this time
while we progress, to take stock of our efforts. And so we'll try and see if the minister can give us those updates once we go planting tomorrow. And also this one, Benjamin, it's interesting. Sack lazy public sector workers. Let me bring details of that story on page 3. Chief Executive Officer for Public Sector Reforms, Thomas Kusi-Boafo, says between 10% and 15% of public sector workers must go home. Well, his comment comes at the back of recent statement made by Professor Enim on the renewal of termination of contracts of public sector workers based on performance.
Right.
Benjamin. But even before we do that, Mr. Kusi-Boafo thinks that 10 to 15% of public sector workers must go home.
Based on what?
Well, according to him, there are some people who are sacrificing because they are not paid that much. Others also do not have the necessary tools and equipment. They need to work, and in other circumstances, supervision is low. He talks about the educational sector where some teachers enroll their children in private schools because it's believed they are better than the former. He says, well, basically, some of these public sector workers are not meeting their standards. He says that government is not happy about the current state of some of the sectors, but is unable to terminate contracts of some unproductive workers because people will end up politicizing and blaming the government for taking their jobs. So back to the big question, how do you determine that someone is not being productive? And I think that's what Professor Inim was driving at. There should be some form of assessment. But I'd want to believe that, as is done in many private companies, you know, at the end of every year, you want to appraise your workers, right? Does that happen in the government sector?
Well, from the experience we have, the public sector is as sloppy as it gets. And it's no wonder that we have so many, excuse me, so many loopholes that people exploit, both financially and otherwise. We know there are these slippages. If, as a country, we wanted to plug these holes, we would have done so. But it works to the benefit of the boys and girls who usually get in there when there's one party or the other in power. So it's left to us, really. We should be asking ourselves, what is it that the private entities get right when it comes to this discussion? What are the mechanisms they put in place? You don't need to reinvent the wheel. And again, like I said the other day, which I think it was Professor Ban Ajiman also, you know, totally subscribed to. How come Ghanaians go to other jurisdictions and they are the hardest workers, but here they get away with so much? It's because the systems allow it. And once you allow it, people will. In other places, other jurisdictions, if there were slippages in terms of tax, people would exploit it. In the UK and France, people would take advantage of it. It's the same human beings here. Once there are, you know, slippages or room to maneuver, people will take it.
Or maybe the people leaving our shores are, well, maybe the hardworking ones who leave, a fraction of the hardworking ones, because I know there are a lot of hardworking Ghanaians in the country. But Benjamin, do you have anything else?
Yes, but if you have stories, wrap up with them before I come in.
Okay, so still in the Daily Guide, Russia backs Ukraine grain exports but wants sanctions off. It's funny, isn't it, that you're at war with Ukraine, yet you are like, okay, let's create a safe maritime corridor so that Ukraine can export.
They've locked out Ukraine.
Yeah, so that Ukraine can export grains to the world market, so that, you know, we can avert this food crisis we are all afraid of, but we are still continuing with our fight.
Well, and they are talking about, you know, the lifting of sanctions
yes,
as well. All right, let's do the Custodian newspaper in the next few minutes. Green Ghana project not partisan, that's according to the lands minister. And pictured there, Samuel A. Jinapo. This is another thing. I don't know how we're going to execute it, honestly, but if we moved away from, I feel one thing, if we started giving credit to erstwhile regimes, that's something that I don't get. It's so petty in our politics. And we don't want to give credit that Kufuor did this, Rawlings did that, and I'm continuing. Atta Mills did this, and I'm continuing. Muhammad did this, and I'm continuing.
Credit to a government of your party.
Exactly. It makes no sense, because now you're saying, oh, it's not a partisan project, it's a Ghana project. So, but some people will definitely look at it through partisan lenses, because there's usually, and I'm not saying in this instance there is, but with such projects, there's usually chop-chop, there's sidelining, and it has a partisan feel. You attend some of these events, you will see that oftentimes it's a certain party predominant. Yes, I know one party is in power, but once we have these environments, we'll have many projects like this one, which people will see, oh, this one is just NPC, this one is just NPP. And that is why we keep losing. So beyond the call, what else do we do?
I really appreciate your submission. So I was at the presser to announce the launch of this event last year, and it's a 5-year plan, okay? And on the Green Ghana Day, we had President Akufo-Addo plant a commemorative tree at the Jubilee House. So talking about giving it a nationalistic dimension or perspective, how about former President Mahama? How about
I was just about to suggest
other personalities?
The former Lands and Natural Resources Minister. How about when you're doing this, you get a person on board?
So that we all know, and also, yes, I know that when it comes to giving accounts, people want to take credit for some of these things at the MPP. You know, it's just the nature of our politics, and so it makes everybody wants to sit back, because if I help you to achieve it, it's going to your credit, and so it's going to affect me and my chances of coming to power next time. So there's just this very polarized system that doesn't help us move forward. But like I said, tomorrow is Green Ghana Day. There will be seedlings at various forestry commission offices across the country. Private entities are also encouraged to pick up seedlings. Last year, we had a couple of seedlings here and people went to plant. Please, the seedlings are not for sale. So if anybody is selling them to you, please tell them that they aren't doing the right thing, and get to any forestry commission office and pick up the seedlings. And there's Green Ghana. We are encouraged to, there are allocated places, Benjamin, spots where people can plant, but you also
pick up points.
Yeah, not only that, but you know, planting areas in various communities. Our colleagues in Kumasi did that. They were allocated a piece of land where they joined other people to plant, but they also encourage to plant in your homes. If you have a parcel of land that is fallow, you know, just plant and let's help Green Ghana.
I'll do 2 quick international stories, but before that, let me do some local sports. And 11 Wonders come from behind to beat Hearts of Oak by 2 goals to 1.
Hearts of Oak.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening to my Hearts of Oak.
And this was in the outstanding match day 30 encounter of the Ghana Premier League season. 11 Wonders performing wonders. Maybe not. I mean, when you look at the Hearts of Oak team, maybe not too many wonders, but Obiniyum. Anyway. And my producer, and I suspect my director as well, and Bernice Abuvedu, you're a fan of Hearts of Oak?
I am a diehard.
The bones are rotting.
No, they aren't. We never say die.
Yeah, that's what you always say.
No, we never.
It's like, you know, that they say the man
I
will be
need
shouting.
Mama V now. I need Mama V. Mama V, where are you?
Oh, I dealt with her, you know, on this issue way back. Kenyan mothers choose between work and their babies. I found this rather interesting because it pertains here as well. And the 25-year-old Kenyan returned to a job 3 months. There's a woman here after giving birth, and as a result was unable to breastfeed her baby girl for the recommended 6 months. She's a trained nutritionist, and she says she has no choice as her family needed the money. It just got me thinking about our own dispensation and what we do here when it comes to...
You've got me thinking. It's hard.
Breastfeeding mothers,
it's
lactating.
Hard. It's hard. It's hard. And I think the headline captures it rightly. I mean, because you have to make a choice. For many women, like for her, she would rather deny her child exclusive breastfeeding, which is highly recommended, and go to work because she needs the money, you know. But in other progressive societies, they are beginning to, in fact, they have extended the 3 months.
Some Scandinavian countries are even, opting for some paternity leave.
Yes.
You know, to ensure that the father is also available to the child and can also assist in other ways. But when you look at our economy, and when I speak of our economy, I'm not talking about what it is now. But when you look broadly at the state of the structure of our system, it will take quite a bit to get some of these.
And there are so many questions about even career progression for women who step out of work and go have their babies and they're away for 3 months, or even you're advocating 4 or 6 months. You know, when they come back, their male colleagues, like there's no, even in the workplace, there's no structure available to support women, okay? And I'm not saying this because I think women should be given some form of special treatment, but we must make some of these things available to encourage career progression. Because you can imagine if a woman is having 3 or 4 babies, maybe 2-3 year intervals, compare that to a gentleman in the same office. You get what I'm trying to say. So by the time she goes and comes, the guy's gone way ahead of
miles ahead.
Yeah.
My final story, Zimbabwean human toes buyer arrested. Now, I don't know what it is with us because you thought it was concocted?
It was fake news.
No, it isn't. I mean, we've moved from, is it the Congo with albinos, other parts of Africa, hunting down albinos and using their body parts for this and that. Now, a 40-year-old Harare man has been charged with criminal nuisance after he claimed on social media that he was an agent for a syndicate harvesting human body parts. David Kaseke, 40, a cell phone dealer who operates at Zymex Mall in the capital, appeared before a magistrate's court, or Minal Narotam, yesterday. The complainant is the state. And there are allegations that follow. But I don't get it. And supposedly, the accused went on to narrate that a small toe attracted 25... You know what? Let me just leave the story there. It's sometimes I just get...
You know what? I was just reminded of the story in the Bible at a time when Israel was struggling a lot with its economy and food. Before the prophet said, tomorrow by this time, where it was so dire that women were even
there'll be an overflow of flour, oil, and people didn't believe.
But because I'm wondering if this is an issue of people really needing money and say, look, I can do away with one toe and get money, or it's just an issue of greed. We don't know, but human beings, we never cease to outdo ourselves. You see, we are always outdoing ourselves in many spheres.
Some people say nowadays that the devil himself sometimes looks at our actions and he goes like, hey. You'll be shocked.
There's a skit by a Nigerian guy where you have an agent of God and an agent of the devil, and when there's a temptation, you tell you, oh, don't say this, then the devil says, say it, and then the human being says something worse than the devil, suggested, and the devil goes like, hey, Charlie, what's happening here?
The people have advanced more than I have.
Apologies, we couldn't have Bridget Chukwinuku, former flag bearer of the PPP, here with us due to some technical issues. Hopefully she'll be able to join us another time, Benjamin, but we'll be quickly bringing you sports.
And maybe before sports, water is life. It regulates your body temperature and keeps you alive and kicking. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect size for every occasion. 330 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers, and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. Guess who? I'm one of those. We have also introduced our special 19-liter jars for offices and homes. Now you just need to stay awake with Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So come on, grab a bottle of Awake water and get quality hydration. Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. Remember, for every bottle you purchase, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. Isn't that heartwarming? It's produced by Casapreco. For bulk purchases, just call 0262 351 251. And on that note, well, let's talk money matters.
Do you know that the income of a young entrepreneur from some selected businesses is exempt from tax for 5 years? Yes, it is. Any young entrepreneur engaged in manufacturing, information and communications technology, agro-processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and creative arts, horticulture and medicinal plants does not need to pay an income tax on these activities for their first 5 years of operation. A young entrepreneur engaged in businesses that enjoy an initial 5-year concession benefits from the following applicable tax rates for an additional 5 years. Accra and Tema 15%, other regional capitals outside the 3 northern regions 12.5%, outside other regional capitals 10%, and the 3 northern regions 5%. For further clarity and information, do contact your nearest GRA office. Ghana Revenue Authority, integrity, fairness and service. Benjamin. And
on that note, well, we veer right into sports up next on the AM show. Do stay.